1970, Lagos, Nigeria International Airport. Rotimi and his father at the airport in 1970 sharing a heartfelt farewell before his journey abroad. Rotimi stands with a small suitcase, looking determined yet nervous. His father gives him final words of advice.
Rotimi, remember who you are. Study hard, make us proud.
I will, Baba. I won't let you down.
With his father's dreams resting on his shoulders, Rotimi boards the plane, stepping into an unknown future. The first son of his mother, he was chosen to study abroad, his father's grand plan to send each firstborn to a foreign land for better opportunities and choices. But life had its own plans. The dream of studying shattered. The world beyond Nigeria was not a bed of roses. Rotimi struggled, fought to stay afloat. He obtained a diploma, but school had to end. Survival became the goal. In a small, dimly lit apartment in England, Rotimi sits at a table, exhausted, staring at an unfinished textbook, muttering to himself.
This is not what I imagined. I thought life would be easier here.
A knock on the door startles him. His landlord's voice booms from the hallway.
Rent's due, mate. No delays this time.
Reality hits hard. Abroad was not the golden dream he expected. Hustling became his new education. Then came Ranti, the woman who stood by him. Together they built a life. 2 children, Kemi and Kola. A family, a home, a cozy living room. Ranti is playing with Kemi and Kola while Rotimi watches, smiling. Ranti says, "Kemi, Kola, tell Daddy what you learned today." Kemi responds excitedly, "I can do needlework now, Daddy." Rotimi laughs.
That's my smart girl.
For the first time in years, Rotimi feels he has built something real, a home, a family, a reason to keep going. Then he caught a break. Rotimi landed a job at a bank and his life changed. He worked hard, improved himself, and climbed the ladder of success. Soon he bought a house. Life was good. But what made him a true leader was not just his success, but his heart. He did not just think about himself. He took care of his siblings, his father's other children, and anyone in need. His sister, Ola, visited often. Through her, he sent money home, ensuring everyone was cared for. But Ola, she was not as kind-hearted. She disliked Ranti, constantly comparing her to other women, being disrespectful and dismissive. During one of her visits, Ola folds her arms unimpressed as Ranti serves food. Ola says, "Is this what you eat in England? No wonder my brother looks so thin." Ranti forces a smile, holding back a response.
Ola, be nice. Ranti is my wife.
Ola scoffs. If you say so." Rotimi, always the peacemaker, refused to see the battle lines being drawn. Rotimi, gentle to a fault, said nothing. He always defended his sister, believing in family. His parents had passed away before he even considered another woman. But his siblings advised him to take a second wife, someone in Nigeria, so he could have children at home too. He listened. He met someone. But this woman was bad news. When he returned to Nigeria, she used every trick in the book to make him stay permanently. She whispered in his ears, clouded his judgment. He abandoned Ranti and their children. A dimly lit Nigerian home. A beautiful woman sits beside Rotimi, whispering into his ear. "Stay, my love," the lover said. "England has taken enough from you. Build your life here with me." Rotimi hesitates, staring at the phone in his hand. Ranti's name is on the screen. He doesn't answer. The woman's voice was sweet, but her words were poison. For years he remained trapped under the influence of this new woman. When he returned to England, his house was gone, repossessed by the bank. Ranti and the kids had moved to a small apartment in the suburbs. His family was broken. Outside a small apartment in London, Rotimi stands frozen as a stranger answers the door.
Mate, this place was repossessed months ago. The old tenants, they're gone.
Rotimi clutches his suitcase, his breath shaky. He was a stranger in the life he abandoned. By the time he finally broke free, he had lost everything. Still, he didn't stop giving. He helped his brother Digi relocate to England, but Digi, he ruined everything. Squandered money, disrespected Rotimi, and in the end turned his back on him. Rotimi kept providing for everyone. Every trip home was filled with gifts and money. He gave and gave and gave. He fell in love again, this time with Talu, a Nigerian woman. She gave birth to his son. But once again, Ola, Digi, and his brother Soji interfered. She is rude. She is not submissive. She is no good. They convinced him to cut her off. And just like Rantik, Talu raised their son alone. His parents had left behind a fortune in properties. The family urged him to return home to claim his share. He did. By now, Kemi and Kola no longer spoke to him. By now, Ranti had left him. She was living with Kemi, where she later passed away. He returned back to Nigeria at age 70 and received 50 million after the properties were sold. He bought land from Soji, but at an outrageous price. His own brother cheated him. His nieces and nephews flocked to him, and once again he gave freely. After receiving the inheritance in Ola's house, Rotimi sits at a table with stacks of money in front of him. Around him, his siblings and nieces eagerly reach out. Soji says, "Brother, you know I need to expand my business. Just a little loan." Ola too added her needs. "Don't forget my children's school fees." Rotimi hesitates, his heart heavy. He had spent his life giving, but how much was left to give? And his son with Talu, Kola and Kemi, Rotimi ignored them all. When the money was all spent, his sister Ola told him, "Go back to England and claim welfare. You have nothing here." Then she ordered her gateman to drag him out of her house. Outside a large Nigerian home, Rotimi stumbles as the gateman pulls him away. Shocked, Rotimi pleads.
Ola, please, I have nowhere to go.
Ola stands at the doorway, arms crossed. And answering him, she says, "And whose fault is that?" She turns away. The sister he once protected had no room for him now. Soji, he cursed him every time he saw him. "You spent over 50 years in London and came back with nothing." They conveniently forgot how he had provided for them for decades. They forgot his sacrifices. At age 74, he died. Not in his own home, not surrounded by the family he spent his life giving to, but in the home of a distant cousin who took pity on him. A small, modest bedroom. Rotimi, frail and weak, lies in bed. His distant cousin sits beside him, holding his hand. His cousin asks, "Uncle Rotimi, do you want anything? Water? Food?" Rotimi whispers.
No, just rest.
He stares at the ceiling, eyes heavy with regret. A man who had once given so much died with nothing. Brother, brother, a lesson for all men. Not all advice is good advice. A man who does not set his priorities right will end up with nothing. Rotimi gave his life to people who did not love him back, and in the end he died alone.